Hello everyone! We are back for another developer live stream. We know we had a lot of people asking and curious what was going to happen and who we have today and what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about Update 3.0, which is going to be the next update. A lot of you might already think, oh, Quickplay, because that's what you guys have talked about before. So we're not doing Quickplay right now. It is still happening very soon, but Lloyd can give us more information about that.
About Quickplay?
Well, I mean,
Or
what is
about the
3.0
next update,
then?
yes,
Why
yeah,
is
yeah.
it going to be a
Because
big
about
patch?
Quickplay, I can just say that we are working on it at the moment, polishing it for the next update. Basically, our next update, yeah, all you know, it's not a 2.6, it's a 3.0, as you see on the screen now. This update, like why we name it a 3.0 is that we do a large integration of everything that the team has worked on since the last, basically since 2.0, that was not released in between. So that's 2.0 was in June, it was like the 20th of June. So from June till today, like our team was working on a lot of things in the background, and now we are actually getting all of that. Some of it is like maybe not so like not the biggest feature that you will maybe expect for a 3.0, but it's still like basically the groundwork for all the next update, like 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3, and there will be a quick play in there, and so on and so forth. What the team has been working on, like from June till now, for example, there is like the change that, and this will come later in the stream as well. Dennis will go through some of the points that that is coming with 3.0. But what I can say is that, like, for example, we changed the way the behavior and the locomotion of the Hellhounds. So you will see that the Hellhounds are changed, like the way they behave is differently. It feels more natural and so on. That's something that some of our programmers and system designers have been working on for like 2-3 months, and that's why it couldn't be like delivered before, and now with 3.0 we are getting this at the same time. What else I've been working on, like that is like that's why it took like such a long time, is like a level change, like a change to the current map. We got your feedback, but that's a change that are so like kind of big, so we don't want to do them on like on a 2.1, 2.2, because it can break the current version of the game. So that's change that the team is doing, making sure that it works well, testing it, and then it goes with the next bigger update, which is this time the 3.0.
Yeah.
So for example, we did change on the chapel of the Madonna, something that like the entrance, there will be some things to see there. And another thing is like a core technology, like for example that Dennis will go through that later on, but we added weapon looting, like hunter weapon looting. That's technology that is quite like big, and we don't want to do it on a 2.1, 2.2 because it has too many risks. So that's something that we did for 3.0, and Dennis will tell you more about this tech later.
Yeah, and so for example, people might be wondering why the file will be big for 3.0. Why is that exactly? I mean, obviously, some people know that we're going to see a new map at TwitchCon, so...
Yeah, exactly. So what, like, even if the map is not part of 3.0, it's actually, like, most of the, like, texture, most of the assets are actually in 3.0. What we did is just not release the map yet, because we want to give the exclusivity at TwitchCon. So the map will
Definitely
be actually...
at TwitchCon.
Exactly. The map will be in the build, but we'll just hide it from you guys, and we will release it.
Pretty neat. We're actually really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's, I mean, that's one of the reasons why the update 3.0 will be big in size for like the next download. Yeah. I think it will be around about 5 gigabytes to download as an update. What I can say is basically like in the future, like the next 0.0 updates, it's basically we are laying the groundwork for the like 0.1, 0.2 updates after that. So some of the like maybe in some of the 0.0 update we will have like big features, but in some of them it will just be the groundwork for the next update actually.
Exactly. So because can you give some examples of like how this went for like, for example, the 2.0 update? Like what is it? Can you give an example of like we made the 2.0 and this prepared for one of the patches later, like a system or
for 2.0, for example, we had like a lot of the spectator mode feature in, but they were not yet completely polished. But we actually had like all the technology was there, and then what we did is that I think this was released in 2.2. We then released the spectator mode, and that was like this is a big change, and we cannot like really make sure that we get because what we do in development is that like in 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, we only like basically cherry pick some of the features and then push them to like a release branch. And that's not something that like for spectator mode, it's extremely risky to do this because it touches so many different systems in the game that there is a risk that we forget one and then it leads to more crashes and so on. So those changes are things that we push at the same time, like on a 2.0 or a 3.0, and then we can just polish those systems, but the groundworks, all those connecting bit and pieces are there.
So the zeros are kind of the base that you need, the foundation of a good house.
Exactly.
And then everything else comes after.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious. We're going to talk a bit also about matchmaking changes. So something that's coming for 3.0 is something that has been requested and obviously wanted to be in the game already a lot faster, but we are finally getting our skill-based matchmaking and we're working on anti-teaming.
So the skill-based matchmaking, I think there was a stream, but the stream had like some technical issues about this last time, so I can just repeat what we are delivering with 3.0. So the skill-based matchmaking will be on 3.0. So it's basically what we will calculate is your performance against other players. So it's like, for example, if you like you will have a score attached to that performance that you have against players, and we will use that score to matchmake, like to find a match for you. The score will be updated depending on your like on basically who you killed and who kills you. It's only currently for PvP, so it's only like hunter versus hunters. We don't take like the environment, so if you die against like an AI or whatever, this currently does not count. Maybe in the future, but for now we only stick with a like performance hunter versus hunters. So what happens is that like when you kill someone, then we know your current skill level, we know the skill level of that player, and if you kill that person, we will basically then remove some points from him and add some points to your skill. The amount of points that we add and remove is depending on the difference of skill between you and the person you killed. So if for example the person you killed was like a very skilled player, like a huge amount of skill, then the amount of skill that will add to you after will be quite big because you outperform basically. Like you were expected, if we would put you in a one-on-one with this person, the expectation, like the assumption would be that you would lose because he is more skilled than you. But actually, as you defeated that like probabilities, you actually then outperform, and then you get quite a lot of skill added to your counter, and this will be then taken account for the next game. You will like to find players that are in the same skill range.
And how does it work if one person is high skill playing with a low skill player?
So currently we take we prefer the one that is the like we take the one that is the highest, but we added some small buffer, and this small buffer we will tweak it just to make sure that it's still fair, so that the game that like this person will find will still be like fair. But we expect that the high skill player can help the low skill player, especially if it's a Steam invite, because then you know it's like you can coordinate quite well. You know who you are playing with. You probably played other games together or like our previous games. So even if he's less skilled than you on a one-to-one basis, the two of you are still a good team.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think for skill-based matchmaking, that's currently what we have. We will have to do some tweaks on the amount of skills you get, like for each kill, also the range of the, like when we group players together. So this will be something that will be iterative, but we feel that this will be a way better system than what we have currently, because yeah, it like you can be like low level in terms of bloodline level, but still be a very good player. Good, and the opposite, you can have played a lot of games in Hunt, but still not have maybe the best reflexes. So the next part that we add with 3.0 is anti-teaming. This is something that when we had like the solo mode and something like we know that this was a problem. I mean, this is a problem due to the fact of the way we were grouping players for the next missions. What we were doing is like we added some randomization as to like who gets when added to the next match, but this was not always enough. So what we did now is that we refactored the way we group player for the next games. We now will wait a bit longer to find enough players, and then what we will do is to randomize this amount of player into like the next games basically. So it's like not everyone will just go into the next one, but maybe like, you know, one guy will go to this one, then the next guy will go to the next game, and so on and so forth. In case there is not enough players, so the system can only find, like, for example, 8 players, because, I don't know, there is, like, everyone else is online and so on. In such case, the system will actually then have a chance to split the session. This chance is something we will configure, and we will see what works best, but there will be a chance that the game will actually then start only with maybe 6 players. And then, so that means that, like, out of the 8 players we found, then we will randomize who from those 8 will go into the game, and then the other 2 will wait for the next session.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's something that we have had a lot of people requesting, to have an anti-teaming system. I'm very curious if anyone has any questions specifically for the matchmaking, or like the changes, or like the base what we just mentioned. If not, yes, you get your answers, so this is the time to ask some questions. We will have a different, like, the stream will continue with Dennis after this, but we want to answer some questions now with Loic, of, like, obviously questions he can answer, so anything that's related to this topic. If not, we're gonna have Dennis, and then we will, you know, is it based on the KDI?
It's not really based, but it's kind of like related anyway, in a way, because I mean KDI is also depending on, like, the amount of time you will revive and so on. It's based on kill, so it's somehow based on, but it's not like we will not take the. For example, if your KDR is currently 25 or whatever, it's like this is not the skill, the value that will be used for the matchmaking for skill.
So do we start, like, is it sort of like a seeding?
It's I don't exactly know what you mean by
seeding. Oh, like as in, like, the matches, first everyone will have to play some B matches to...
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so it builds itself
Yes,
up.
it will, and the first games that you will play, actually the skill will evolve quite a lot, and then after a while we normalize that a bit, where in theory when the system kind of found your skill level, then the amount of points you get and are removed will be lower.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if there's something, as long as I can get into matches fast rather than waiting for the perfect skill matchmaking. Will the skill level be shown in game, or will it be behind the scenes?
It's currently behind the scenes. We don't consider actually showing it to the players. We will have to see what makes sense. Yeah, but for now, we keep it like a secret number, because there actually are modifications to that number, even depending if you are on the team or not, for example, depending on, like, in the future, we may add more criteria as well.
Yeah, and only random. So, like, if you're obviously queuing with a friend, you'll get in the same game. It's not that they split up. It's just the people that are in the game that are, like, split up. Because obviously when people team, they, like, both queue as 2 teams of 2 or whatever, which means that they are already in a team. So, like, they will not get pulled each other out or outside of each other. But the people that are, you know, obviously in, like, a group stay together. Let me see if there's any other questions. How blood level will affect matchmaking? I don't think blood
not once we ship with the skill-based matchmaking, then the bloodline level is completely independent from the games you actually will be in.
Yeah, so, like, blood levels will be gone. It will purify, like, kills. Do we also take deaths in consideration, or just kills?
I mean, kill and death is the same, because, I mean, if someone kills you, for example, then you would get, like, some skill will be removed from you. So it's like, if you kill someone, then you get some skill added, and the amount of points you get is depending on the opponent skill level. And the same on the case you die, then you get some skill removed, and the amount of skill that is removed is depending on the skill of the opponent.
Yeah, so as we explained it, like, will take longer to find a game because of the matchmaking and the teaming. I mean, yes, games can take a little bit longer, but it shouldn't be because of the way we do the split, is what I understand.
Yes, so that's something that we don't want as well. We don't want that the games are now taking, like, you know, twice as long. So that's something we'll have to monitor, and we will base the ranges in terms of, like, matches. You know, it's like the amount of like skill that will be considered for the matchmaking will be tweaked so that there is a fair like consideration for length that you spent queuing for a match to find a good match that is fair for you, and at the same time that it's not too long.
Will team kills affect matchmaking?
No, the team killing is excluded from the skill-based matchmaking.
Gotcha. Will the matchmaking take into account new players?
Actually, yes, that's something that I didn't mention, but the new players, the one that like start from rank 1 in Prestige 0, will at the beginning not have any skill being added to their bloodline or to their account, and this will only kick in from after this like trainee mode is over. The reason is that like someone who starts may not know the game mechanics and so on, may not know how to even traverse the world and so on. So we want to give some time for players to understand the game mechanics, and then once they reach a certain level, then that's when we start having the skill taken into account.
Okay, so that kind of answers a few of the questions that I saw come by. Loadout doesn't affect matchmaking, no?
Currently it will not, no. We will evaluate if, for example, because we estimate that it does not really affect it. If we see that there is an impact, that like someone with like a certain type of weapon has more chance than if he had another weapon in a one-to-one situation. If we see that it has a strong effect, then we would probably modify the algorithm in such consideration, but that's something we will monitor on the live environment.
Okay. Yeah, I think that answered most of the questions that people had right now. For matchmaking, I think someone is trying to casually slide in.
It's a preview.
It's a preview. It's a pre-preview. But yeah, most of the questions, like as we explained, they should be honest. There's no ranked games. This will just be for everyone else. There's one thing that I want to know. Will the KD be reset for crafting when we add crafting to the game?
I'm not sure that we discussed that internally yet, so it's like we'll have to see, and we will give you a heads up as to what is reset way in advance.
Yeah, I mean, I did hear that a lot of people were like, we kind of want everything to be reset, so, but we
may give the option to like it's like you can choose if you want to reset it or not. I don't know. We have to discuss what we do for like when we ship crafting.
Yeah,
but we will give you an update way in advance.
Exactly. Okay, we're gonna switch out for a second. I'll be back. We'll be back in just a little moment, and then we'll see you guys for the rest of the stream, where we're gonna talk about more of the content and some of the changes in the levels and such that are coming to the game. So thank you so much, Loic, for being here.
Thank you very much.
Explaining the hard to explainable things that a lot of people might not understand completely all the time, but I think a lot of people are made happy with all these matchmaking information. So thank you, and we will see you next time. Okay. We're back.
Hi.
Hello. We have done the old switcheroo. We now have Dennis, just like completely changed. We're going to talk about the things that are coming to update 3.0, and also a bit about the things that were not coming to 3.0 that were originally coming to 3.0. So yeah, Dennis, take it away.
Okay, so update 3.0. I mean, I think Lloyd already made a good job of presenting a little bit what our plans are with 3.0 in general, as it being a platform update. So big under the hood things happening. And now we're going to talk a little bit about what that means from the content side and what the roadmap of the extra next items will be.
Yes.
So for example, the first thing, Quickplay will not be part of this first initial update. That will be in one of the following basically content updates.
Yeah.
But we still have plenty to go around. Well, actually, maybe do we need actually more? I mean, we've matchmaking resolved, anti-teaming. do we even need to give them more?
Yeah. We're gonna give them more. Okay, first obviously 3.0 AD spam.
Yes.
Something that obviously you guys really want fixed, and we have been showing a little bit from it before, and now they have it. Yeah, they have it fixed.
So for the 3.0 update, we want to put the first version on test server.
Yeah.
Like to gather feedback. Basically, the video you've guys seen before was just a quick way of us to demonstrate how we avoid the rapid, sudden movements, the erratic movement, which you can also abuse very easily with the netcode, etc., to make it very unlikely to be hit. Now, what we're going to show you now is a comparison between the you can play already.
Yeah.
A comparison between what you currently see on the left side on the live environment. So like rapid turns, like quick movement, make it very hard, and then on the right, you see the same type of button presses, or very close to that, trying to replicate that, but now being a bit more boxed in from the new system, the inertia-based movement. So that allows us to basically, land shots on guys charging you with bayonets, melee weapons of any kind, or, well, maybe even just the dusters.
Exactly. See a lot of happy people in the chat.
Yes. So, we've tried a lot to retain the feeling in first person for you to not feeling it like it's too sluggish, and you can kind of peek around corners still and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not that you're completely like unmovable, like you can't move left or right.
Exactly. But obviously this is going on the test server, so what we need is the feedback. We need you guys to play this once it is on the test server, and then tell us what you think. Like, is it too much? Is it maybe not effective enough because you feel you can still be very, very dominant with the melee weapons? So again, it means we need to ask you guys to be on the test servers like the last times already, and help us and refine this. There's a more than enough room for us to tune this based on the feedback and make sure this is the best anti-spam system or 80/80 anti-spam system we can provide.
Exactly.
So
yeah, 80/80 spam, something we're getting rid of, something that was heavily requested. And no more people running up with like shoo 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 teleportation with machete to murder you in your sleep. But no, that's gonna be fixed.
There's something we're gonna do alongside it, which you won't see in a video. So there's something that you guys know that when we talked about it some time ago, about people had a problem with bunny hopping in the game, right? That was a big thing. Like, was it like the 1 point something patches?
Yeah, it's
when
like
we did
a
that?
while back ago.
So earlier this spring, and the way we had to apply a temporary fix back then was to make jumping cost stamina. And we, together with the 80/80 spam changes, are now reverting that. So you no longer have to take melee stamina to jump. However, there is a couple of other systems in place, and we're gonna see how you guys react to that on the test servers to still make sure you cannot bunny hop. So again, there's something, hopefully maybe another reason for you to go to the test server once it's ready and try it out. Again, we're waiting for feedback. We have to see, is it too restrictive? Is it too much? I'm not going to talk too much about what exactly it is, so I'd like to get you guys' first-hand experience, like how it feels.
Yeah.
And based on that, we will tune it further.
Exactly. So next on, weapon looting.
Yes.
So we got a video for that prepared as well. Obviously, we're getting weapon looting into the game, which is something that's been requested for quite some while, actually. A lot of people want the ability to pick up weapons. We'll show a little bit how that's done, but also after we'll show more about
the context
of it, and as well as like the contraband weapons, because that's something that you guys we talked about a little bit before, but we'll have to re-explain that as well. So yeah, let's just quickly watch the video. So nice headshot. Obviously,
almost quick scoping quality, right?
I know, right? Obviously, that guy happened to have on his, you know, a nitro or an aftermath, right?
So the way this works is we allow you to pick up the main weapons only. So there's no picking up of explosives, no picking up of tools, anything like that. You can't fully loot the body. But every time a player goes down, he will also drop on the ground the weapons, the 2 weapons or up to 2 weapons he's carrying. And they will be pickable. Now, you might wonder, what does it mean if you get revived? So let me just pause it there. No. Yeah, just like somewhere we see the prompt. Give me a second. So what could it mean if you get downed and your weapons are like laying on the ground? So I mean, it would be kind of frustrating if you had to pick them up again. So obviously, if you get revived, your weapons just spawn back into your hands. Yeah. Now, what can happen is that someone is stealing your aftermath, as happened in this demo. Now, if you get revived by a partner, let's assume the guy isn't being burned. Maybe he kills the guy while he's looting. As the partner gets revived, he will now be revived with a new weapon, the weapon that has been swapped. So in this case, he would be now the proud new owner of a Vetterli. Yeah. What is also something to consider with the system is that, as you know from the meta, as you equip your hunters, we have different slot categories. Like we have the large slot for the longer rifles, we have medium for like the sawn-offs, and we have the small slot for like the machete or the pistols. Now that is obviously a slight dilemma, how you visualize that, how you make sure that people can decide what weapons to pick up. Because if you run around with 2 medium-sized weapons and you want to pick up a rifle, unless you have Quartermaster, it will mean that you drop both of those weapons in order to pick up the new one. Yeah. So the interface, the prompt that you see here, just for the one weapon, would obviously show you both weapons that you would lose in this particular case. And then it's up to you to kind of like select the right one, swap out the one you want. It's a pretty intuitive system, but it's kind of like a little bit handicapped by just the slot sizes that we have in the game. Yeah. So you can't just like equip like 2 long weapons, because obviously that would be a problem from the balancing side.
Yeah, so I see already a lot of people asking, what about the ammo? How does it sit with the ammo changes?
Yeah, so basically the ammo, if you have, for example, weapons which share ammunition, so like the Caldwell conversion pistol and the Winfield. Yeah. It will try to keep as much ammunition as you can hold on the hunter. So in this case, if you were to drop the Caldwell pistol but keep the Winfield, then the 22 extra rounds that the Winfield has is the maximum of the compact bullets that you could hold on to. Everything which is in excess will be dropped. If you don't have that much, well, you drop an empty weapon. Obviously, someone can still pick it up and they go to an ammo box and refill it again.
So if that person did not have ammo and you kill that person, you take its weapon, and if it doesn't have ammo, you don't have ammo until you restock.
The weapon would be empty. So what we're at the moment lacking is additional readability to tell you, oh, the weapon you pick up is empty. So this is something which we want to add, but this won't be in the very first version we want to put on the test server. So just so you have a better chance of finding a weapon with at least 1 bullet in it, so that you can fight back. But again, we have to see first how we make that read, like if you do any changes to the icon or display numbers or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that is the weapon swapping system. Now, we talked about this in the last stream a little bit when we talked about the first rough indications of what a quick play could be like, and we talked about that you can like get a hunter out of a mission and then keep that hunter, and we also talked about the free tier 1 hunters that are coming as well with this update here. And there's one mechanic that we've been mentioning already. We want to go a little bit more into detail. I think that's the next one on the list here.
Quick question. Someone said, like, how is that with looting the hunter? You can still loot the hunter. That will be on his body. His own loot, and like the loot, like the weapon will be next to
exactly.
him.
So if you were to look a little bit to the right, you would get your prompt to loot the hunter, and then you're lucky. Maybe you get some of your consumables replenished or tools replenished, or you find some money on him, or just get some ammunition. Yeah. Obviously, if you now loot him first, then you might get ammunition for the weapon you currently have, and if you don't swap out, well, too bad. Yeah. Can drop that ammo right away.
So, and the weapons will be contraband.
So yeah, that's the next thing. So
we'll explain that in a bit, but I just want to.
So there's one loophole, obviously, unless we design something for it, which we did, that can be used now. So it's like, oh, well, I just go farming aftermaths because they have a quite high price. So I take them off the mission and I sell them, and I'm actually making more money than I would by just completing the mission.
So people ask, what about team kill looting?
So the teammate can never, ever pick up your weapons. So
it's useless. You can't do it. Just like looting your friend,
it's a bit harsh when it comes to, well, but my partner just got killed and he lost his last health chunk and he's out of the game and I can't even then pick up his weapon. The thing
he
is,
just got killed, but he had an aftermath. They're like, oh,
exactly.
So unfortunate.
But so just to avoid trolling, just to avoid people being able to exploit this by just like burning people or whatever, getting out of the game and then picking up their weapons, this is not possible. Your teammate, obviously, if that doesn't count for people you randomly encounter in the game, you can always get backstabbed, as you know.
Yeah.
But the guy you go into the mission with, he will never be able to pick up your weapon.
Yeah. Maybe you can consider that an enemy will do it for you, and then you kill that enemy.
That's a loop thing, but I mean that needs quite a different.
Anyways, we want to go first to the. Want to just go to Contraband, or there was something you wanted to more explain?
I think we can go to the next topic. I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
So,
Contraband. I mean, it kind of blends over, anyways. So we just started talking about this for a bit. So weapons that you are taking out of a mission from another player.
Yeah.
Those are not sellable. You can't sell them to your hunter, vendor, trusted person, whatever. They won't just accept them.
Your hunter dealer.
Your hunter dealer. So in this case, we mark any weapons you bring out of a mission, which were not the ones you brought into the mission, as contraband. That means you can use them. They are exactly the same weapon otherwise, so you can play with them, but you cannot make a profit off these weapons.
Oh, I just see people are like, they're like, hunter level 100? No, it's because this is like the hunter icons or like traits he can upgrade. He's not a level 100.
Now, did you guys never have like 100 upgrade points? I have them all.
He is a max level.
No, this obviously is just like for testing purposes.
Testing. It's not how it's going to be like, trust me.
So when you go into your hunter screen, and let's assume this is the guy that just we saw in the weapon pickup, and now he came out of the mission alive, and he has the aftermath he picked up from the guy. So you see now on the right hand side, in large slot, you see this little red icon there. That means this one is flagged as being contraband. Now, if you go to the selection menu where you just want to basically swap out equipment, you will see there's 2 aftermaths in the list now. Yeah. That means one is the regular aftermaths. In this case, you own 109 awesome aftermaths, which is obviously fantastic and very realistic to happen. And then we have 110 contraband aftermaths. Which is equally realistic to happen, and
yeah, no, definitely 110.
And now you have basically a chance to discard. That basically just removes it from the list. These items, if you want to, or you can just equip them on a hunter and just play with them, but you won't be able to sell them like the normal aftermath for quite a high amount of money. Yeah. Which normally is a problem because you spend an even more amount to even buy them. But we want people to game the system, like harvesting players for loot weapons, and again, not engaging with the bosses because they might find it more profitable to actually go after players and just sell the weapons from them. So that's not the intention. Therefore, the contraband system.
We want you to be able to play with the weapons that you loot, but not abuse the weapons that you loot.
Exactly. Also, there's this one change that we talked about in the last stream already, which is that from 3.0 on, we will always have a tier 1 hunter of your possible recruits, which will be available for free. Yeah. So that basically means if you are even like rank 100, as you know, there's always a tier 1 on the far left. That tier 1 will now always be free. If you are like a rank 100 guy, a rank 1 guy, like in the first tier, then you would see like 4 tier 1 recruits there, but only the far left one would be for free. So it's not all tier 1 recruits, just one of the recruits on the far left then is the one for free. And as you can see, it uses the same contraband system. So that guy spawns in like as being recruited with contraband weapons only. That means you can also not just like reshuffle new recruits between rounds and then always get the guy, get rid of him, sell the weapons and make a profit. You can play with him. It's a way of reducing frustration from dev. Like if you just want to accept what the guy is being offered with, like in this case, actually a pretty cool kit with a Caldwell rival. You can just go in a mission. You can always obviously just add stuff to him if you want, if you invest. So this is not like the tier 0 mechanic we had before where you were restricted. It just means that he comes with weapons that you cannot sell. Yeah,
you can disregard them. If you don't want them, you can just get rid of them. You just don't sell them.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that is the contraband system and how it will be in place for 3.0. Yeah. I think we can move on to the next topic.
Yeah, and I know that some people already saw show Quickplay Recruits.
Haha! The teaser we've in there. Yeah. So
just saying, the crafting teaser is not a teaser, because I know a lot of you are like, "Oh, it says debug crafting."
Oh my
but
god!
Trust me, it's not right. We're still figuring the crafting out, but the Quickplay is already a little bit less.
That's something we can actually talk about. Like maybe it's a quick teaser for them.
Quick teaser about.
So we won't go too much into detail about Quickplay because we're still working on it. But there's a couple of things we can talk about already, and we did. Yeah. I think in the last stream even mention a few things. For example, the fact that in Quickplay, you can basically, if you are the winner of a Quickplay round, you can keep the hunter that you've built up. So Quickplay will have the ability to even find weapons in the world, not just from players, but also just like placed around. And then depending on what you found, what you've stolen from other players, and if you are the guy that wins the round, you earn that hunter.
Exactly.
That hunter becomes a normal one. In this case, there's no contraband. It is just really exactly like that.
Actually won. And got out. That's your reward. Yeah.
So we were discussing like, okay, how can we add them to the players like roster, like to actually make them selectable. And obviously it would be a problem if, as you know, we have 5 slots. You have 5 hunters.
5 slots are gone.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like, you already have 5 hunters, you win a round, so then it might need to ask you to replace this, or like maybe give you something instead, and just it's all awkward.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we decided is that any hunter that you've earned through winning in a quick play match will be available in a separate recruitment tab. That's the one we see on the top. So basically, the last 4 hunters that you have successfully gotten out of a like a quick play round will be available to be recruited for free because you've obviously unlocked them by going to the step. And then they have exactly the equipment that you exited with, and it just keeps track of the last 4. So if you don't pick them up and collect them, then obviously you can only get the newest 4.
Exactly. So it will be something that we'll give more information about later when we have it.
Yes.
That's why it's not happening dispatch, but we have all the other cool stuff. We have more. We're not done yet. But wait, there's more.
Yes, the partner inspector.
Something you guys have been requesting for quite a while. The partner inspector, where you can see before you get in queue into a match, or even if you're in a match, what your partner has.
Exactly. So that gives you an option, just like especially when you play with a random, to kind of like synchronize a little bit. What is he bringing? What are you bringing? Is he playing like a meme or troll build, or is he actually trying to be serious about it?
Yeah.
You kind of see that there, and it gives you just like another chance of committing. Plus, you can also, which is the main intention, like match your equipment. Like he brings a shotgun, maybe you bring a rifle. So it just opens up more options and gives you more overview of what's happening.
Exactly.
I guess like if you invite your friends, you can probably usually talk to them anyways about it, but especially with the randoms, this will be very, very useful. And yeah, we have this I think also for the in-game.
You check, so like let's say you forgot what your partner has, you just quickly escape and you can see what your partner has. Yeah. And I think it also works on a map if I'm not mistaken.
I think not on the map, but
on the map you should be able to see your own.
Exactly. So that's actually a good point. It's a hidden sneaky thing. That's perfectly fine. So yeah, you will see the equipment of you and your partner. Obviously, this is just a mock-up screen. Therefore, the guy is called the same. He said it was just a copy paste, but what you see is on the left side is your own equipment, your own gear, and the right side is what your partner has. Now, when it comes to the map, it's a very good point. What we've added with 3.0 is that if you open up the map on the right-hand side, you will see all the traits your current hunter has. So it gives you a chance to kind of check, what did I actually have beast face before you get closer to the dog kennel, right? You can just like check back and don't have to memorize up front. It's just a more small convenience update, but I think it's something which people appreciate quite a lot.
Exactly. Let's move on to the next thing. I mean, this is very straightforward. So level changes. Yeah, so
another big thing, I think Loic touched upon it a little bit before. So by doing a main build, we also have a much easier time integrating bigger, massive changes to the maps, not just like small bug fixes, like closing a hole here and there, but actually doing like layout changes. And what you see here is a compound. Some of you might recognize the compound, but maybe you will wonder what is different here actually. It's not quite as it was, right?
Oh well.
So far so good, but like something was odd. Something was different. Wait, wasn't it like directly in front of the church?
Wasn't there like one entrance?
Yeah. oh wait, there's 2 now. Okay.
But wait, there's more.
So yeah, we basically added like another entrance to the chapel compound.
Yeah.
So you have basically now a third option, and it makes it a little bit harder to bunker down, but also it makes it a little bit easier to avoid being camped from the outside.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now that compound is a bit more in line with what we have for most of the other compounds, which is a fair amount of ways in and out in order to be tactical and
Let's just look at it one more time.
Exactly.
So this is if you were to be inside, you start inside. Normally there was only one exit if you went through side and then in the middle, but there is 2.
The revolver cylinder is different? No, it's not. It's just the normal Caldwell. You probably just only using the uppercut.
Oh, because isn't that
that's just a default. Yeah.
Nobody uses that.
But it's so much better now since the last update because we updated the compact ammo a little bit. Actually, what's also pretty cool with this one is
I actually don't have any issues using it, to be honest.
No, I think I use it a lot in the beginning, like before upgrade. But especially with fanning, actually, there's a difference between the chain pistol and the uppercut, for example, and the ones with just the normal cylinders. Is that the basic ones, they just fire much faster when you fan them.
I see someone now, just less crows, so we're good.
Okay. Then a couple of layout changes. So this is an example of just a couple minor changes. So this is what this is currently looking like, and this is what it's looking now. So in general, it doesn't come across perfectly in here, but you see there's some changes to the roofs, just like so art updates, small like stuff here and there. You just like cycle between them a little bit. But also one of the bigger gameplay relevant ones is that across Port Rica, you will have less water. There's going to be more areas where the water has like kind of receded a little bit, so you're going to walk a little bit more through like above ground, like you call it, like on the mud. So it's just minor changes here and there, but this is just stuff that you will see across the entire map. That's like small things have been updated here and there, and that also helps obviously with optimizations partially. Assets are being made more efficient, but also assets are made prettier. So it's a great small improvement.
Exactly. And then the next one, I mean, this is just a
minor stuff as well. So for example, we kind of looked at the hunting towers again and just like made a couple changes here and there to them. So you see like the lower section also can be used a bit more defensively.
Yeah.
So that's more interesting if you're actually under fire to actually get out alive. And it's like look out for like small changes like that across the entire map. And here we see again how the chapel has.
Obviously, this is what we had before. There's like one entrance in the middle.
Exactly.
Is now 2.
Yes. Then here,
I just showed this a little bit extra, you know, like hey, there's more fire, less fire.
I think it's just burning differently. To be fair.
It's the joke you're burning.
So then we have lock bay docks as written on the outside of the wall. You see there's some texture thingy. So what you see here is now where we came from was that the dock canal was very close. So this is the old one here. Was very close to the main building. So they would constantly be barking as you were fighting the boss. Now we moved them a little bit outside of range. So usually they don't trigger so much from the boss fight and actually are more useful for other people getting close.
Yeah.
And we also opened up the space a little bit. So overall we have much nicer fights in this area than was before. It's a bit decluttered, it's cleaner, it's more straight angles for understanding where people are moving and going to. So it's more enjoyable to play.
Yeah.
Then what is that?
What is this? A crows on the fence? Crows?
So this is an update
just
we did.
A few on a row? Crows on the wall? What is this, Dennis?
I don't know. So what we've been doing is we now added more variations.
No, please, no. Stop.
We added more variations to the crow. So rather than having the what's it called, the murders, right? Crow murder, a murder of crows. Yeah. These big patches all the time. We now give our level designers the chance to actually place them on ledges,
that
on
doesn't
fences.
Mean extra crows.
It just means different crows.
Different crows. Like, not just all on, like, the floor, but also on the fence.
There were certain elements in our moderator team who were very avid for crows, and we thought we're going to give them something as well.
So it's not more crows. It's just the crows will be placed in different places.
Exactly. Overall,
So
actually,
not-
there will be fewer crows.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we've obviously changed the numbers a little bit.
Right,
We balance a little bit. So what you will see is even fewer crows than what we had in the last update. So we're even further optimizing and looking where, but they now
Yeah.
appear at some more interesting locations where it was not really possible to have like a flock or a murder of crows
Exactly.
being placed before. So just look out for variety. You will see a couple more, and obviously we want people to trigger them because that's how we draw people together.
Exactly. So at first you might not know, add ostriches. I mean, I would love ostriches in a game. Something else.
Yes. So
What is this? A cash register?
a cash register. So we added like a small little thing in there for exploration. So as you know, like if you find a dead player, you have a chance to loot them, and that gives you or has a chance to give you even some money. That if you manage to survive the mission and get it out, you might get like 50 or 100, 200, up to $500 and basically have a nice little side income.
Yeah.
Now we've done something in addition, which is that in some of the locations there is a chance here and there, if you look for it, to find a cash register. And the cash register is basically giving you exactly the same mechanic, that if you use it, there's a random chance to get a certain amount of money that will be sitting and living on you. And then obviously it's up to you whether you want to bank it and get it out safely,
And
or if you just move along.
So is it the same as like the bounty or like the money you loot from a hunter?
Exactly.
If you die, I mean, obviously you don't get any.
Yeah. So in this case, it's just 100% chance that you will get money. With a hunter, there's also like refilling of items, consumables, etc. But it gives you just like another thing to look out for, and maybe just look into that one small building. Maybe there could be something there, right? It gives you a reason to explore besides just always looking just for ammunition. So it's a small little thing.
Will there be a sound if you use it?
Of course, there will be sound when you use it.
Will people hear that sound if you use it?
They will certainly hear that sound.
Cha-ching!
So yeah, it's a small thing. Like you don't expect them to be found everywhere, all around the place, but there will be just a couple every time you play a mission. But maybe you're lucky, maybe you find them, and maybe you're super lucky, and you have the 1% chance of finding $500 in it. Ooh. Lucky you.
Ooh. So yeah, cash. I mean, I don't think people will be camping. I highly doubt it. It's not that like woo, like excited. Well, I mean, it is exciting that there's extra cash, but it will be fine.
Yeah. What was it I just saw on the screen there?
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see anything. Dogs. They're dogs.
All right. So we invested a little bit into technology for like how our quadped locomotion is working, and specifically our hellhounds are benefiting from this. So this is again one of those things which we can only really do with a main integration and getting additional engine features and game features in. This is stuff that we've been working on for quite some time. So people have been working this along other things on and off.
Don't worry.
And it's just like now we're ready to actually do the next round of updates on the Hellhounds, so as is normal for us. Like, it's an early access game, and not all the features are fully finished yet, so we will go back to them, we improve them, we nerf them, we buff them depending on what is necessary and we want to do. And for the Hellhounds, we have now made basically an iteration pass on them from a design side, but also from an animation side.
Yeah, so it's not just, you know, I know that a lot of people still are like, where is going to be the anti-headshot stuff? That's not in this.
Yes.
This is going to be animation of the hounds, as well as the way they react. So you see them jumping back, or you hit them and they fall on the floor and they actually have to get up. And you can also dodge them. I tried it in a few videos. It was pretty hard for me, but then you'll see them run past you. And also then we'll, like, you know, recover and, like, return.
I think you forgot to reload your weapon there.
Yeah, I was recording all of this, like, I'm, like, focused on, like, I have to dodge, I have to dodge, I have to dodge. I don't have time to fight. But yeah, so the damage is different.
Yes.
First of all,
as
you saw bleeding.
It's the hit points are different, the damage is different. They do bleeding damage now, but overall do much less damage. So the attacks are different. It's harder to kind of like melee them, as you can see. So maybe shooting is the best option. Or we also
headshot is still very
effective. Also tune like the headshot damages. Obviously, like if you shoot at them over mid range, long range, depending on the weapon, like a Mosin or something like that, sparks will kill them at headshot at any range. But if you have like a Vetterli, I think it's like similar to like the player kill range is like 90 so meters.
Yeah.
And that gives you just like enough options to just bring them down before they even get in range. Because if you end up in a situation like that, you did something wrong before.
Yeah.
What you can see there is like some of the reactions when they get back up. So this is something we're not 100% happy yet with, but we will have that on the test server in this first iteration, where we want to improve this. It can sometimes give you the impression that you've killed one and then he just stands back up. So this is something where we just want to talk a little bit about internally about like the animation and maybe some of the sounds, etc., just to make it a bit more readable. That this guy actually isn't done yet, because you might just consider this guy is gone. You shift over to the other one and you get attacked from the side because he actually stood back up. So that's a problem we still see in there. We want to resolve. But
I think I tried to do more dodges here. It was not so effective. It is really hard. Like, you gotta understand, this is difficult.
Yeah,
the doggies are mean, but the jump is really cool. I really like when they jump But back.
if you just think about how they move on the current live surface, like just the locomotion, etc., like this is like complete new experience of them actually running at you. It feels like actually quadrupeds doing that. They kind of like turn around a little bit, move around, and what I personally really like is there's like dancing around you, like kind of jumping back, doing another bite, and just playing with you a little bit.
Exactly.
So yeah, they're still pretty lethal. But they play differently now, so different tactics can succeed. One of the things why we had them so powerful before was obviously also to kind of help us avoid some of the issues with the first implementation.
Oh yeah, that's the thing that you saw. That's also new. Like you see them do like the little. That's if you're in the. I mean, I'm just saying. People are like, why are you not fighting them properly? I was trying to keep them alive and also trying to record.
I thought you fought them properly there.
No. I was trying to get the camera. I was like trying to interrupt him and stuff. See, like that. That's really cool. Like that.
What can also happen is, I'm not sure if you see that in one of these sequences, that if they are about to jump at you and you do some damage, you actually also knock them back.
Exactly.
And can cancel that. So play with them on the test server. Try them out. Give us feedback again if they're too weak, if they're too powerful, or they're different, if you like it or not. And I think we're seeing some good improvements here, but yeah, your feedback is needed and wanted and appreciated.
So next,
weapon changes.
Yes. Weapon changes. Yes. Controversial topic. Well, first let's start with the brawler. Just something small.
Yeah, exactly. Small thing. So with the next update, it was 3.0 update, we're gonna do a change to an existing weapon. So you guys know the Nagant pistol brawler. So it's like the Nagant revolver with the added dusters on the side. We've changed that to now be a Nagant officer brawler. So we've just converted the weapon over to now be a officer version. If you own a Nagant brawler, it will automatically become a Nagant officer brawler. I'm not going to tell you about the price, sorry. But it will be basically just an upgrade. So that weapon now, as a double action pistol it is, gives you a chance to just shoot a little bit better, more reliably in close combat, and you have the melee punch to kind of like follow up.
Exactly.
So that's the first thing. It's a very minor change, but I think it's something people appreciate. Then melee changes. So we've done some changes to melee. Haha. The last update we talked about the machete specifically as part of the 80/80 changes we've done, and the temporary stand-in. So what we've been doing actually is this is not nerfing, this is not buffing, this is actually rebalancing completely. So Rob has been spending a couple of days on that.
Might have seen him in the stream like a long while ago.
He's basically one of our designers working very closely on the weapons and AI, etc.
So yeah. We are aware that because a lot of people were like, oh my god, the knife does so much damage now, and the machete is useless, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go into that a little bit.
Yes. So the as we talked about the last time, it's like we didn't intend to do any changes to the PvE part when we were doing the changes to the machete. A couple of bugs slipped in. That's why systemically then the knife became so powerful, which is like basically being able to do regular attacks against the grunts or the heads, etc., and then just bring them down. So everything felt a bit inconsistent. So as part of these changes, what we've actually been doing is just making like revisiting the whole melee damage and vulnerability system. So we've looked at the AI cast, we looked at the weapons, we looked at the different types of attacks we have. So as you know, we have the blunt attack, so if you hit him with a buttstock or the dusters. We have the slash attacks, which is like the machetes or like just swinging with a knife. And then we have the stab attack. So this is if you have a bayonet or you do the heavy attack with a saber or the knife, etc. So our AI is balanced differently against those. Has always been. It's just it wasn't very readable, and as we released update after update, some of the originally intended readability kind of got lost in some of the changes we did here and there. So now we've taken a step back and actually looked at this and rebalanced the weapons slightly. So for the most part, they should actually feel the same, or if should feel better than before. But what you can expect the most is now that we have a bit more of a sanity check between similar weapons. So for example, one change we've been doing is that the knife is still giving you the one-hit kill to the upper body and the head if you do a heavy attack. So like you can step grunts just you could before.
Yeah.
Now, if you compare that, for example, against the Dusters, which has always been more like, okay, well, it's an economic choice, right? You can't insta-kill anyone with it, but you have, because it takes less stamina per strike, a lot more strikes, so you could easily just jump into a group of like 5-6 grunts or so and beat them to death. Just takes a bit longer. So that core principle of using not only the damage, but also using stamina as a way to differentiate weapons is still true. And for the Dusters, we have changed it so that where the knife can do the upper body and the head in one heavy strike, the Dusters can do it against the grunts, to the head at least. So if you do a heavy attack with the Dusters, you can still kill a grunt. And with a reduced stamina, that means you can actually be even more effective, but you have to aim more. So this is just one example of how we kind of looked at the weapons, and especially how they were paired up, and kind of rebalance this a little bit. So again, the idea is to make all the weapons viable, make sure that obviously they feel consistent, but also not have like absurd combinations. Like for example, there was a perception with the last changes we did where the knife just felt weird.
Or that you could like with a normal attack like slice grunts and stuff. Exactly.
Now another example could be looking at the saber versus the machete. So the machete, if you do a regular attack to the head, you just chop off the head of a grunt. So it's again very economic. It's very little stamina usage. So it kind of combines a bit like the pros from both the Dusters and the knife. It's just a better choice. You can do more attacks than you can do with a knife, and even with the regular attacks, you can just like quickly get rid of a grunt or even a group of grunts. As you know, like the machete kind of swings, so you might even, if you time it well, like do multiple, get multiple heads off. Now, with the saber, for example, that's a bit different. The saber is a bit weaker when it comes to the regular attack. It actually is not as a big blade. It's still powerful, and the speed you can do these attacks both for the machete and the saber means you can usually follow up quickly. But there is a difference between the weapons now, where both of them have a pro and con. Where the heavy attack on the the saber is just more powerful. Like for example, we've rebalanced against the AI, and the armored specifically, we have now balanced to be much more vulnerable to these stab attacks, the piercing damage. And that means actually charging with a bayonet against an armored or using the heavy attack with a saber actually kills an armored in 2 hits. So it's much easier to bring one down if you have the right weapon. With a machete, it's like before, you need like 3 hits. So it takes more stamina. So you might bring out 1 armored, but you might not be able to bring out 2. While if you have a saber, you can even technically bring down 2 armored so they're close to each other. So it's like slight rebalancing within the system. And just make sure that every weapon, every type of melee, but also the enemies have clearer pros and cons and are more balanced against each other. So again, we have the full details of what it means, how AI is being modified, how the weapons have been modified as part of the update notes when it goes on the test server. So you can read up on all the details. We don't need to go through all of this, but these 2 examples are pretty strong examples of where out of a sudden like weapons are feeling very differently from what they were before, and you might actually equip now based on what you actually maybe have as a disadvantage. Like if you don't have a weapon that is good against an armored, maybe bring a saber actually is a good complementary weapon.
Exactly, yeah.
Or if you want to have an all-rounder, maybe go for the machete because obviously you can easily kill grunts with it.
Exactly. So Aperture side, I think this is something that a lot of people are going to be happy about because a lot of people were saying that the Nitro got nerfed too much. So we've made some changes.
But it's doesn't matter. So it's like 2 weapons which use peep sights at the moment. We call them peep sights. It's basically an aperture sight. We have the Winfield Aperture, which is the Winfield version with this. So it's like the Nitro Express, which comes by default always with it. So this is what it is currently at. You can see like very handicapped. We tried to put some downsides in this very cheap update, but it was just, especially once it was a bit dark or foggy, it's hard to use. And while you get more zoom, it just felt a bit too restrictive, even for just 5 points more. So we have a new version of it. So the zoom level is the same almost. I think it might even have gotten back like very tiny bit, but we actually see a lot more of what you're looking at. So you can use it actually more effectively as a sniper weapon now, as the cheapest sniper there is, and hopefully it will have a bit more of a place.
With a clear lens. It's actually pretty good. I was testing it and I actually like it a lot more than I expected it, because
it doesn't have a lens.
I mean, yeah, that's right. I mean, there's quite a big difference of like how big it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then the nitro, again, the same thing. It received some treatment, so we kind of made it consistent. So again, there's no big zoom increase or anything like that. It's just that what you can see through is a little bit bigger, and you're still obviously handicapped by the big metal plate otherwise. So it might be hard to still aim on a target. There's drawbacks about it. But it makes it a little bit easier just to aim with it, play with it, and use it at like a short to mid range. So yeah, minor update, nothing really big and fancy, but we finally had a chance to go back to them. What we are still considering moving forward is to at one point allow you to on the Aperture attachments, so like the Winfield at least. We still have to talk about the nitro separately, but to make it a flip side so that you could technically go and say, I'm going to turn it on, and then I have to zoom. And then if
the only thing is, why does he hold it differently than this one?
He doesn't hold it differently. It's just a bit closer. It's just because the peephole side is different. It's just that the view has been rebalanced.
Okay.
So the actual art asset has been changed a little bit. So like there's a bigger hole in the Aperture side device, and then the camera position is being adjusted to kind of feel nicer as well. So yeah. I mean, so we had to do some camera changes here and there so that the weapon doesn't recoil in your face, basically. So it's just some minor tuning here and there.
Okay.
Cool.
I hope that I'm very curious what people will think and what they'll say once they have like played with the nitro now, or what they're gonna play with. Obviously, we'll still have to keep an eye on it. If there is a heavy meta for specifically nitro, we'll obviously still have to. We'll have to work on what we're gonna do then next.
I mean, technically, not much should change. It's just it's a bit more easier to actually aim with something.
Exactly.
All right.
Last but not least, TwitchCon. Obviously, we're going to TwitchCon in a week. Next week we'll be flying. Well, I mean, next week we'll be there already.
Yeah.
And then the day after next week, on the Friday, we're starting TwitchCon first day. We'll have our booth. Booth number. Oh God, why did I not write that down? I'm the worst. I'm the worst. I had it written down, and now my brain's got to do it. Wow, I think it's 1481 on the top of my head. 1431. 1431, which will be your booth. You'll be able to come play the new map. For the very first time, Lost in Delta. The trailer is, the teaser trailer is up on our channel where you can watch it. And we'll have people stream it for the first time. You might know the Phil Spawner, he's in the chat there. And also the Rebel Wrangler, some of our like Hunt local like residential streamers.
Finally be able to meet up.
We'll be meeting them. First of all, I mean, I already met Rebel, I'm just saying. But they'll be streaming the first slot, and they're gonna stream and show you guys the channel, or like the map, sorry. And obviously I'll make sure they'll stream a little bit as well on my channel. Get that promotion going. But yeah, no, we're gonna have a lot of streamers showcasing the map for you guys over the course of the 3 days. If you're there, definitely come, because we got t-shirts, we got pins, we got a lot of cool stuff.
Swag.
We got swag. So yeah, and obviously the new map, which is a big reason that people are there.
Yes.
Archie's not in TwitchCon. He would have definitely joined. Like if he was there, he would have been there. But unfortunately, he couldn't come.
So yeah, we have a couple things to show though. So for TwitchCon, people who have a chance to attend the show will be able to play Bounty Hunt, current game mode. However, we've changed a little bit in terms of how, for the purpose of the show, people can actually play. So if you show the next screenshot, so as they'll basically be on the show floor, we don't want people to like freely customize their hunters just in the interest of time. We have like play sessions, etc.
We want to have more people play.
Yeah, so we kind of shorten the playtime a little bit, and also like kind of give them the people who have a chance to play hunt there just like a couple of presets.
Yeah.
So we kind of designed it on a couple of nice hunter combinations. So there's going to be a rifleman, a shotgunner. There will be one with a crossbow, a sniper one.
Obviously, this is not final. It will be different, but like
it shows you roughly what's going to be, and then like they can kind of play the new map easily, get in. get these hunters and just like focus on actually experiencing the game and the map.
Yeah.
And we can get the games going. So don't freak out. This is not something that is supposed to be going in the normal game. We're not giving you like only presets or stuff like that. The game will be just exactly the same. It's just for the purpose of TwitchCon, to smooth things on the booth, kind of like make sure people can find their seat easier and just like get into the game faster.
Not a loadout.
Yeah. So this is not quick play, and this is not a change to the normal mode. This is just for TwitchCon. So when you see the streams, you know what you can see there.
Yes.
Cool.
No, it's not. They're not playing quick play at TwitchCon. This is just a loadout of having the option to go with a hunter that is like, we have some pre-selected like loadouts. Obviously we'll make sure they all have like a health pack and like, you know, a syringe so they know how to stay alive. But this is just more that they don't have to go through the process for TwitchCon. Listen, it's just for it's there. This is the new map build. This is how it looks for TwitchCon. Did I say TwitchCon? I'm showing a new map at TwitchCon. Yeah. But like that they don't have to go through like looking through weapons and everything, which will take longer for, you know, the people there.
It's the classic mode with a streamlined way of getting into it for the purpose of the show.
Exactly. So yeah, that's pretty much.
I think we've went through it, right? We've given them more than matchmaking and teaming now, after all.
Yeah, I mean, we could have just stopped. So I think one question a lot of people are asking, like, oh, when is it coming?
Yeah, so we're currently putting this together. I mean, as Loic mentioned, putting up a main build is quite a big of an endeavor. Like there's lots of things to look at, like the stability is something where sometimes you have to integrate like stuff that people have been working on for quite a long time that creates bugs, issues, etc. What we're hoping is that by the beginning of next week, sometime beginning to mid next week, this will be on the test server.
Yeah.
And then people can already give it a go, give feedback. It's very, very important. Test server, once it's there, go on it. We need more than 50 or 100 people, please. Feedback, we'll possibly do like survey stuff around it as well to just like get back in touch with you guys on Discord. And tell us what you think. Play it, give us feedback, and tell us how to make it better if you feel it's not good enough.
Exactly. Yeah, then we'll do some more questions. So if people have questions, let us know. I know some already have asked some questions in our chat, so I'm just gonna like read through them. Oh, they haven't?
Yeah, put on the 3.0 update maybe.
Oh yeah, it's all the way back. And we're there. But yeah, that's a lot of new stuff, as you can imagine. A lot of you might be when it's a server, like he just said it. So at the moment, we will answer everything that's related to 3.0. So we can't answer any of the new stuff, or like anything that's like for later down the line.
Yes.
But like for the map, like the map will be first shown at TwitchCon. So then after TwitchCon, just wait, see. There will be information. Don't you worry. But yeah, let me see. What was the compact bullet change? Can you
from the previous? Yes. So on the previous update, we done 2 changes to the compact bullets. So that's what is currently already on live. So the arms specifically are arms and legs. We did both, but arms specifically are doing a bit more, take more damage from any shot. So we kind of normalize if you shoot at the upper body of like a hunter with compact bullets. What before maybe was like 3 to 4 hits to bring a guy down might be more to 3 hits now to bring him down if you score all of them. Or for example, where with a Winfield, which could bring down a hunter on shorter ranges with 2 chest hits. But usually would still mean like 2 to 3 hits to bring one down, depending if it the arms, etc. Is now more reliably to 2 hits. So just everything got a little bit easier. There was a small buff for compact ammo in general, which obviously not only the Winfield benefits from, but also then the Gant revolver, as well as the Caldwell uppercut, not the uppercut, everything but the uppercut version of the Caldwell series. So the chain pistol and the basic one, etc. But also that in the Gant silencer. And then the second point we did was more in line with the ammunition changes, is that there was a bit less ammunition being handed out from ammo boxes to top up your extra ammo for compact bullets.
Exactly. So someone was actually asking, are we guys looking into better balancing options for the weapons after what we've done now with like the first step with like nerfing the ammo and such?
Yes, and so we've done some of the things. Like for example, we talked about the changes to the rate of fire for the auto 5 and the Dodge pistol.
Yeah.
There's one thing I mentioned in the last stream, which is that we want to make the shotguns a bit more reliable. But obviously, once we do that, so this means, for example, taking more control about how the individual pellets are spreading around in the crosshair, so that they're actually kind of a bit more center heavy.
Exactly.
So we're still working on that part, and once we do that, then the shotguns might feel different enough, and then we might need to look into damage of them, etc. So just make sure that the balance of that is there. But at the moment, we feel that while very, very powerful weapons, they're also very random weapons sometimes, where you just feel like this one should have just hit. It was point blank 3 meters, and why is he still alive? So we just want to improve that overall. That's going to be primarily by taking control about the spread distribution patterns of the pellets, and then balancing the damage accordingly to make sure it still is a fair weapon to use, but also a powerful weapon because shotguns are powerful.
Exactly. Let me see if we got some more that seem interesting. How big is the new map? It's the same.
It's the same size, so like a square kilometer. And yeah, it will be offering a very, very nice experience. But we talk about that soon more.
Yeah, we can't share anything about the new map. I know a lot of you want to know more about the new map, but we're gonna keep it like
make sure you tune in for TwitchCon.
Exactly.
Just watch your favorite streamers if they're attending the show and have a chance to play with us to take a look at the map and then give feedback about it, talk about what they like, and yeah. Then shortly after, you guys will be able to play it as well.
Exactly. Should be default tab, not statistics. Player will look at stats either way, but not news. Yeah, that's something I actually was thinking about myself as well. That like I feel like, do people actually watch the news in the news section? Do you see it, like, or do you just look at the stats? Because I personally don't look at it anymore. I mean, I know, so that's kind of different, but.
I use it sometimes because it gives me a way to get around some of the network connectivity problems. So sometimes the numbers just update there. But in general, like the news are interesting. But obviously, if you're following the community, we have a great community management team with great community managers, and they have ways to reach you in much better ways than through the in-game news button.
Yeah. Now. The bomb lance is not coming yet. Like, I know it was a teaser. That's why we wanted to give one short teaser, because it was mainly focused on the creation of weapons rather than
the bomb lance really looks like a craftable weapon to me, but I'm not going to say more about that now.
What did it just say? Like, wow. Let's see. What about silence weapons? They feel useless now.
Are they? I would challenge that. It comes down to how you would use them. So in a solo player or if you do like a PvE encounter, they're actually very powerful. I prefer still the pistol over the throwing knives. Unfortunately, it competes with the slot. But in general, like using silence weapons for ambushes, using silence weapons against AI, like if you just want to get a couple clues, etc., or if you want to sneak up to someone, they're still powerful. But obviously, like the crossbows, like sniper rifles, they're a bit of a niche weapons, and that's how they're supposed to be. That's how they're intended. Like we don't want like 20% of the players running around with sniper rifles or silence weapons. We want them to make noise. But for those players who prefer a specific playstyle, they are there as an option.
Yeah.
And I would dare to say that they can be very effective in the right hands.
Exactly. And like I see some people that are like, oh, but when is the map coming? The second map is coming for the first time next week at TwitchCon. Playable exclusively. And then later, not much later, but later after TwitchCon is over, you guys all get to try it on the test server.
Yes, because we want the feedback. We want you guys to play it.
Exactly. So a lot of people are asking for female hunters. That's on the roadmap. Definitely check that out.
Yep.
You can feel it there.
Talk about that in a future build.
Exactly. Like at the moment, like our focus is what we're like explaining here. Everything that's coming up very soon, we tell you guys. So it's not that we're trying to withhold information that we don't have yet. Like, for most things you can check out the roadmap. Everything we have to re-update it again with now the Quickplay being well, technically no, it's technically still correct.
I think it will be updated once then the 3.0 update goes on the live servers, and then it's usually like in the interval we do the updates.
Exactly. It will then be updated again. I know a lot of people are asking about a feel the feel slide or about a feel the view. Wow, feel the view slider.
Yeah,
is that like it's off the table? Like, can we?
At the moment, it's off the table just because it's a technical challenge for us, and there's a couple other technical things we need to do first. We would like to do it eventually, but this is something which isn't the easiest thing to implement to do it properly, like without performance impact, etc. Rendering. So it's not something which we don't right now have as a priority. We have to visit this at a later point, but we can't really talk about it right now.
Exactly. So I just wanted to, because like we get a lot of the same questions, and I just wanted to make sure you guys get some sort of answer. I mean, so far I don't really see any specific questions. If you have any specific questions for 3.0, ask us now. We're planning for very soon, within like a week or two.
I see a question for me.
What? Oh, about the
About the Vetterli.
Yeah, the Vetterli. Why did you guys choose to go with the carbine Vetterli instead of the rifle version?
Yeah, so just because primarily we wanted to have a weapon that kind of sits between the Winfield as a compact spam weapon, like 15 round capacity on a big one, and the Mosin as a 5-round like heavy rifle, like a powerful weapon. So the carbine version of the Vetterli was perfect for that purpose because it kind of combines the advantage of both, right? It gives you the tube loading mechanism of a repeater rifle like a Winfield, but it also has the bolt action cycle similar to the other one. So it kind of in a nice way like marries and combines two worlds, and also using like a round that we can easily justify as being a medium round. Sitting somewhere between the pistol bullets and the true rifle bullets, it was the perfect match for us.
I see actually someone a good question. Can you loot a weapon if you have no weapon?
You can, and in this case, the guy who will be revived, hopefully by his friend, but the partner afterwards, will have fists at that instead.
Exactly. So like the way the weapons, like just quick like recap, the way it works is you trade with what you have. So like if you don't have anything, you grab you grab nothing, or you grab the weapon. He has nothing.
I mean, what you can do now is you can go into a mission without a weapon equipped, and if you manage to pick up a hammer and beat someone to death with it, you can take their weapon.
Exactly. And then I had some people that are asking, like, what are we going to do for optimization now we go into 3.0, being a bigger batch?
Yes. So, I mean, obviously, we're benefiting from the main and engine integrations. There will be a couple of additional things that we can now do, which we couldn't do before. Obviously, it's a give and take, right? Like, so new features are coming online. They will take some performance. We do optimizations. They will give us performance. Yeah. But overall, we always want to, like, make a step forward rather than backwards. Consider more optimizations to be on the way, obviously, and as things become more efficient and just in general, like us being able to refactor maybe systems which were a bit complicated before, and investing into technical depth and just tools and systems.
Yeah, exactly. So for the missions, the way we do it with that, like I know a lot of people are asking about like, will we get more missions? The reason that we don't have all the missions right now, or like we have to take some missions, is because we have like with the lower amount of players, we just need to have the ability to spread people, and we don't want people to wait too long for the games. So at the moment we have lower missions. Let's say if the game picks back up, like we have more players. Yeah. Exactly.
The solo only event, for example, was yet another mission, and obviously that competes with the other ones.
Exactly.
There's a couple of nice things that I'm not sure if Loic had a chance to touch upon that, where we now have a chance to actually feed some of the players from random matchmaking queue occasionally into filling up one of the other missions. So for them, it will still be the random mission. They will get the bonus of playing a random mission, but it just makes sure that we take a bit of control about like how long other people will have to wait, and then we can see how often we have to do that. And ideally, it's just a rare thing here and there, but we now have the ability to try that out. So we will experiment with this and see if this gives us a chance to maybe increase the variety a little bit, or at least keep the current variety just fine.
Exactly. Like, yes, you like we have a population, but you can understand we have a population split into 5 servers now. We have
somewhat more realms.
We have a lot of realms, servers in a lot of places.
We recently added the Russian servers, for example. So there's like a second pool now available for European players.
Exactly. Also, for another 35 minutes, you can still buy Hunt for 22% off.
Ooh.
So definitely do that. Get your friends to play. Get faster servers. More people. I think that's a great deal.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah. I think that's pretty much the questions we had for now. Let me just do a very fast TLDR, because like a lot of people are asking for it. Update 3.0. Quick. Okay, what does it mean? We get skill-based matchmaking, which is based on your skill, which is based on your kills and your deaths, adding more points to people that have like a higher likely chance to defeat people that are like way better than them, and like add some score if you die. Obviously this will not be for the people of rank 1. They won't like gain, but they will lose if they like lose a lot.
Yes.
Then anti-teaming is gonna come in, gonna be cool. AD spam is gonna be fixed. I mean, it's gonna be fixed. It's gonna look great. I just want to look at it again because it does really look great.
Show it!
Oh my god, that's the dogs.
Oh, we have to show them too now. Basically, do we have to repeat the whole stream now?
We'll just do it real fast. Okay, so this is gonna be the new AD spam, like, fix Aperture. That's not a word.
It's the same motion on both. You see what you can do on live at the moment is very erratic. What you can see with the changes is that it's more normalized. There's more inertia-based movement.
Exactly.
Makes it harder for you to just like dodge bullets.
Exactly. So next, because this is a speed run, you know.
Run, go, do it.
Okay, weapon looting. Weapon looting is coming in. The way weapon looting works is like you kill someone, you trade the weapons. It's fairly simple. You cannot sell those weapons. Which means do the next thing. Contraband. Contraband weapons means weapons you cannot sell. Which means you can see that you cannot sell these weapons. So if you stole 111 or 110 aftermaths from someone, you can't do anything else with them besides play. You can discard them, however, if you just want to get rid of them. Very easy.
Yes.
Then you can also see if you get 1 tier free hunter all the time, you can, you know, not sell those things as well either, because that would make it a little unfair. And you can then have also a partner inspector. Also new, before you get into a match, you can inspect your partner. You can see that he has this windshield and like, you know, simple. He takes a lamp.
He brings the lamp.
Brings the lamp. That's enough, right?
I mean, that's a good thing.
You can also see what he has while you're in game. You forgot what loadout he has. So just like press escape to look at the menu, and you see like this is you and this is your partner. Your partners have no lamp, so that's good. Level changes. So we made some level changes. Very simple, very quick. Some houses are a little different. We got less water, which is easier, so you don't have to drown in the water devils.
Yeah.
We have better bunkers, so you cannot get killed as easily when you have to duck away.
That's all you
for a
call them
bunker.
now, bunkers.
There's now a bunker. Bunker to watch out. Cemetery. I mean, no. I mean, technically, it is a cemetery. That's confusing.
It is a cemetery. This is the church, the chapel.
The
compound.
chapel of
yeah.
Madonna.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's now 2 entrances, not 1, 2.
So
1, 2.
adding a third option, like with most other compounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now you can enter from multiple ways, so it's not as easy to get camped. Then we changed at Luckbay Docks a little bit the coop, so it doesn't like always bark when you are in the building. Just some change.
We did something similar. Actually, there's no picture of it. If you recall livestock, the north side of livestock, you have a chicken coop directly on the main house. That was also moved a little bit further to the north. Same effect as you're inside fighting the boss. You don't have the chicken go crazy all the time and people going mental.
Exactly. Okay, crows now appear everywhere. No, I'm joking. But they can sit in a line on like a wall or like wood or like more wood.
Yeah, you can still encounter them as murder of crows the patches before, but there's alternatives. But overall, again, the numbers have been slightly reduced.
Exactly. There's no more crows. It's just more that they can be in multiple places and different places, different heights, especially. Okay, cashier desks or like cash desks, cash registers. You can get money from them. If you're lucky, maybe a lot of money, but make sure you get out alive because otherwise you get no money, and it will be cha-ching.
Same mechanic as with looting hunters.
Exactly.
And you find them only in rare places, so it's just another reason to explore.
Oh wait, I think I had the video.
Hellhounds. Open.
Hounds have different animations. They will react a bit different. They now do bleed damage, but less damage initially.
Yes.
They will jump back if you attack. You can interrupt their attacks with like either a melee or like a shot, obviously. As you can see, if they fall, they get up. They come back and start attacking more. They do those cool like dodgy jump backs. You can dodge them, and also there's some really cool thing where if I'm not flying there, no, it's not. So we got 2. They jump at you, jumping back, jumping forth. This is great. Look at the paws. We're gonna look at the paws. We're gonna look at the paws. The paws gonna go like this. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. Oh yeah! Did you see that? That's great. Next.
Go.
Weapon changes. Melee changes. We're rebalancing everything. We're just gonna overhaul the melee.
Everything must go.
It's all gonna change. It's just everything will not be the same. No, we're gonna make it that like everything is a bit more imbalanced for the PvE. So like that, everything has its own place rather than nerfing one thing or like buffing one thing. It's gonna be a complete overhaul. Aperture side, the Winfield Aperture is gonna get a bigger Aperture side. The Nitro is gonna also have a bigger Nitro Aperture side.
No changes to Zoom, just to see more on screen.
Exactly. TwitchCon. We're gonna be TwitchCon at booth 1431. You should come because you get to play the map and you get swag. And we'll be there. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. This is going to be how the build looks like. Don't worry, it's not in the actual game.
Yeah, this is just for the show floor, so you can get the people quicker in, play it, etc. Rotate through. So we give them a couple of presets. They play the new map, and that's it.
You guys want a quick recap? I give you a quick recap.
Can you do an even quicker one?
You don't want to do it. TwitchCon is in US, but like, okay, so 3.0 is going to come very soon. First we have TwitchCon, and then, yeah, 3.0 is going to come. The map will come for everyone else as well. Make sure you guys test it with us, because it's important that you test so we get information and we can change it depending on that information.
Yep.
So, yeah. I hope to see you guys next week at TwitchCon.
Yes, be there.
So obviously no developer live stream, but we'll be there. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. I hope you guys are excited. If not, definitely rewatch all of this and get excited again.
Especially the recap.
Especially the recap. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Cool. Thank you guys. Ciao.